Welcome to this week's HAN Arts and Leisure. I'm Steve Coulter with Sally Sanders and our own real dad, Mark Schumann, our movie expert. We've got a great show in store for you today. We're going to break our movie discussion into a couple segments here, beginning with the New York Film Festival. That's our real theater topic of the week. It starts tomorrow, or it started last Friday?
Starts tomorrow down at Lincoln Center. And for people who love movies, this is the annual opportunity to just go crazy and see so many good movies that have been beautifully curated by the Film Society of Lincoln Center. It's a fabulous event. It's right down the street, and it's a wonderful opportunity to see what's big and soon to be talked about during the end-of-year awards competitions, as well as some quiet films that might otherwise not get a chance to be seen.
And the first big one of the festival is The Walk, which premieres Saturday at the 26th with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
This is Robert Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis, as we know, loves special effects, and at times lets the special effects get in the way of his movies, but when he uses the special effects to create a story, as he did in Forrest Gump, the most famous of his films, he is as good as it gets, and this promises to be an exciting film.
This is going to be in 3D?
It is in 3D. So that means when we see Joseph Gordon-Levitt traverse the distance between the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, we will see it in 3 dimension, and it will be quite a sight from the people who have seen the film.
And for people that don't know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's going to be playing a French person.
It's true story, 1974, and it was considered an experiment in art to create this sensation of a man walking from one tower to the other. And that's it was quite the story at the time, and since then it has kind of taken on a legendary status. There was a documentary done about it several years ago, and this is the first fictional account.
Well, I think the views of it that I've seen just from the stills are amazing, and
for
visually, people who have height issues, it's going to be a challenge.
I think it'll be totally frightening, and this is what the film festival does extremely well. Last year's big popcorn movie was Gone Girl, and this is what the film festival does. It takes these big mainstream movies that have real substance and then balances them with other films that might be considered more art or independent.
And hours after The Walk is the first artsy independent movie, The Lobster, starring Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz,
that sounds like fun.
Has fabulous buzz.
Yeah.
And then a week later we have Steve Jobs, which has received so much attention. The story of Steve Jobs in the hands of Danny Boyle, the director of Slumdog Millionaire, and Aaron Sorkin wrote the screenplay, and Michael Fassbender's in the lead. And
Seth Rogen supporting, and Kate Winslet's in supporting. They're all going to be at the Q&A. I'm looking forward to that on Saturday the 3rd.
And it just looks like a really interesting take on a legendary figure of America and the world who changed the way we live.
You know who's also going to be at the film premiere is Walter Isaacson, who wrote the book.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun.
So this is very much based on the book, then, you think?
Yeah, the book's the source material for the Danny Boyle film.
But then you say Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin is going to do what Aaron Sorkin does, and he's not going to let it. He's not going to let it just simply be what someone else's vision was. He's going to bring his own to it, and then you balance that with. Steven Spielberg's going to be back at the festival with Bridge of Spies, which brings Tom Hanks back to the festival because he was there for Captain Phillips. And that will be certainly an opportunity to see something that's new and talked about anytime Spielberg takes a chapter of history and brings it to life.
And for those who don't know, this is Cold War Europe.
Cold War, the U-2 spy plane. What are we going to do? The American got shot down. Are we going to get him back? And it recreates that period that, Sally, we remember of when we had to duck and cover and get under our desks in school, and we were prepared for the end of the world.
It seems like a lot of the films that are coming into the festival this year are set sort of mid-20th century.
Right, because
Carol is one.
Carol,
Brooklyn, Carol.
And Carol will be interesting. It's Todd Haynes who did such a beautiful job several years ago with Far From Heaven, where he took the visual language of films of the 50s and took a story that certainly was trapped in a different time period and put them together. And he does apparently much the same with this story of two women who fall in love against the mores of the time. It's reported to have brilliant performances from both Rooney Mara and Cate Blanchett. And any time to see Cate Blanchett is a celebration.
Yeah. Now here's my question, kind of projecting forward. Let's say they both get on the Oscar ballot. Are we going to have one of those old they cancel each other out bits if they're both in the lead actress category?
Who knows?
Or am I projecting way too far into the future?
Well, the trouble is that it's early. It's like projecting who's going to be running for president. You just get you in trouble.
I didn't think we were going to bring that up in today's conversation.
But I think that at this point, what's interesting about Carol is that it won't open in theaters until December, and so this is a chance for the film to build some buzz. And Todd Haynes is going to be back at the Film Society next month for a tribute to the body of his work. And this is where the Film Festival and the Film Society play such an important part in the calendar year evolution of film, because movies come to this festival knowing that it gets a great deal of attention and that it becomes an excellent place to position the film. And you think about last year,
we've talked
Birdman
about that several
was the
times on our
closer.
show.
2 years ago, 12 Years a Slave played at the New York Film Festival. So it is a necessary stop.
And I know you just mentioned Carol not coming out until December. The festival's closing film also, we don't really know when that's going to come out, and that's miles ahead. So we're going to get the world premiere of that.
Another mid-20th century film.
And it's a love letter, or it's a love project from Don Cheadle. And Don Cheadle is such a remarkable actor, and
we're going to have him as our real star in a couple weeks.
Everything he does is done with such care, and I can't wait to see this and to see what he does with a form that we've talked about before is fairly standard, the musical biopic.
Right.
And
but as you've always approved, this is just a finite period in Miles Davis's life. This is something that where he was coming out of his silent period, so it should be very interesting.
Can't wait. And the fact that the film festival saved its closing slot for this,
I think that says a lot
film
to it.
Says a lot, because they curate this festival. This isn't the kind of festival where some festivals just have hundreds of films and you can just go crazy. This one is so carefully picked, and they pick a balance of film to represent the year in film, and that's why it's so special.
Is there one that you're looking forward to the most, Mark?
I have to say I'm really excited about Carol, because I love Todd Haynes'
that
work.
combination of actresses and the director.
And I think the actress combination, but I love how Todd Haynes dares to put these current issues in a 1950s look. I think he did it so well in Far From Heaven, which still stands as one of my favorite films. So I have to say I'm really looking forward to that. And then I can't wait for Bridge of Spies. I just think that anything with Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg together has to be good.
And what about you, Sally?
I'm kind of excited about Brooklyn, just because I love Colm Tobin's work, and I think that might be fun to see. And I think it's his book, and The Great World Turns, that was about Philip Petit crossing between the World Trade Center towers. So it has a nice connection.
It does have a good connection.
Yeah.
And is there one that's set to disappoint? Do you think that will kind of reach too far?
I think it's too well selected a festival to let that happen. I think that they have so many films to choose from, and I think I can't think in past years when I'm
going to throw one out there. The one that I'm going to go see, the first one I'm going to go see is Where to Invade Next, Michael Moore's new documentary. I think that one could be a stellar best documentary type, documentary, but it also could be a huge bust. I think it's a huge boomer bust type production.
But he's a polarizing figure.
Right, exactly. That's
why. And you either love his films or you don't, and a lot of that is based on how you react to him personally. Word on this film is that it's not what people expect, and that it is funny. But it is
he's always very
funny. It's
funny.
very pointed about what has happened to the American reputation overseas. And you either want to believe that or support that or even think about that point of view, or you don't.
And do we have any caution flags about Aaron Sorkin doing Steve Jobs after he just did The Social Network 5 years ago about Mark Zuckerberg?
I never have caution flags about if Aaron Sorkin wrote my grocery list. I think that his ability to look inside and find ways for characters to express themselves is just brilliant, and I look forward to anything he writes.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to speak the way an Aaron Sorkin character speaks.
Oh, I would too. I would just like to be as together as they are.
Yeah, always.
And I think that he understands the medium, and he understands what the medium can do, and he's so good in writing for actors. It's no surprise the actors bring the best. And then you think of Michael Fassbender, and he's such a compelling actor.
He's been snubbed for Shame, and then he was snubbed for 12 Years a Slave.
Shame was the big snub because he didn't even get nominated.
He was brilliant, absolutely
he didn't
brilliant.
even get nominated. And 12 Years a Slave, that was just a very competitive category.
Yeah, he ran into kind of a brick wall there at the Academy Awards. He wasn't going to win that year.
So every week in this Real Theater segment, we're going to look at what is real at theaters, and there is nothing more real for the next couple of weeks than the New York Film Festival.
That's it.
And staying in New York, we're going to switch topics to our real home theater, and that's going to be a little Richard Gere film called Time Out of Mind, where he's a homeless man in New York City. Kind of the theme is father-daughter relationships.
And it's a fascinating film. It actually played the New York Film Festival last year, and it's taken this period of time to get released. We put this in the category of real home because it's available on demand. It is in theaters in the city, but for those of us up here, it's on demand. It's very easy to watch from home, and it is coincidentally about a man in search of his home, and it's Richard Gere is a homeless man. And the wonderful thing about the film, and it's quite good, is that in many circumstances, if we heard that a big star like Richard Gere was going to play a homeless man, we'd say, Oscar bait, Oscar bait. And it's not that at all. It is a subtle human performance. No grandstanding. It is simple. And it's so beautifully directed because it's not filled with big moments. It's filled with small moments.
And his daughter is Jenna Malone, who's a great actress.
Great. But the real highlight for me was Ben Vereen.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
we haven't seen Ben Vereen in a few years. And at first you're going, I know that voice, and I know that man, and who is that? And then you realize it's Ben Vereen, almost unrecognizable, and Kyra Sedgwick, almost unrecognizable.
Really?
In a small role.
Now, does he have mental illness in this movie, or is the theme more the homelessness and the father-daughter?
It's basically a man who we get the suggestion was once quite solvent. Time and conditions change, and he becomes one of the millions of people who are lost on the street. And actually, he cannot prove he exists. He has lost his identity. He cannot remember his Social Security number. He's lost in the system. And it's about what happens when you lose the system and the system loses you.
It feels like the kind of film that Richard Gere would do, too.
And he was quite
He's such
passionate
a humanitarian.
About, I think he makes movies because he believes in what they're about in many cases. And certainly it is a call to action that, if nothing else, we need to notice people. And he talked quite movingly about how when they were shooting, and many times the camera would be across the street and be shooting Richard Gere in a distance. And Richard Gere was not looking like Richard Gere. And people would look right through him.
Of course.
Because and his point was, we don't always notice the people we may see. And that's the call to action in this film, is that we can't begin to help people until we notice they're there.
And it takes a real star of Richard Gere's pedigree to get this message onto a national kind of conscience.
And thank goodness we have this thing called on demand.
Yeah.
And this thing called iTunes, where these small films have a way to be seen.
Yeah.
Because there aren't enough theater screens to show all of these films.
And we have a voice like yours to point them out, too, which is
so
important.
This one is really easy. You just go to the on-demand and click, and it's 2 hours that will make you think. I think it's a good film for older teenagers to see with parents and talk about what can we do from the comfort of our home to help others find a home.
And now, before we go to our first commercial break, favorite Richard Gere movie, if you have one? The real star of the week.
I think he's a great actor. I think that he is often undervalued because he makes it look so easy. I love Primal Fear.
You took mine.
Yeah,
I should have known you were going to take mine.
I love that. All the attention at the time was on Edward Norton. It is Richard Gere who makes the film work.
They play off each other just tremendously.
And Richard Gere is so grounded. That's my favorite.
He's really good in An Officer and a Gentleman as well.
He is. Yeah. I get. It's a little. I like gooey movies, but it's a little gooey for me. And I was never a big Deborah Winger fan. I just never quite got the Deborah Winger thing, and I never quite got the song, and so that isn't my favorite. I think there are others from his early period that weren't as noticed at the time. Yanks, this lovely movie directed by John Schlesinger.
Days of Heaven?
Days of Heaven.
Yeah.
And what about you, Sally? What do you like of Richard Gere's career?
Well, I was looking back through it because we were going to be discussing this, and one of the ones that I had forgotten about was Summersby, which I loved.
Oh, that was a lovely movie. Yeah. The story of Martin Gere. It's kind of the new interpretation of Martin Gere
Back from the war.
with Jodie Foster.
Yes.
It's a lovely film.
I always remember that one. It really moved me.
You forget about that film.
Yeah.
I think because he's so believable in almost that kind of light comedy Cary Grant manner.
He's very low key in most of. I just saw the second most wonderful exotic Marigold Hotel,
and there's not a lot of substance there. It's pretty predictable.
Pleasant. He was just pleasant.
Yeah, he's very pleasant. I think that because he used his good looks and his charisma to find advantage in Pretty Woman and The Runaway Bride and those light comedies, it's easy to cast him in that way. But I think there's a lot of actor in him.
Yeah.
I like Arbitrage as well. There's a lot of actor in him, and I like it when he stretches himself.
And that's Richard Gere, the real star of the week. And the real home pick of the week is Time Out of Mind. That's on demand for you to watch. When we're going to come back from our commercial break, we're going to do our real family pick and For Real, which is our segment where we're going to talk about movies that just don't make any sense. We'll be back after the commercial break.
That's right.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
While the temperatures are cooling down, the fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait that are abundant in the Long Island Sound. If you love the New England coast during autumn, this is the time to be on the water. The latest from Shimano, Quantum, Avet, Hoagie, Phase 2 and more are in stock and ready to go at the dock shop. And don't mind those fall breezes with jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece from Grundens and Stormer. The dock shop will keep you warm and dry. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Does buying a car leave you feeling like you're chasing your tail? Head straight to Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram and take car buying in a whole new direction.
All right, we are back with Real Family, our newest segment where we're going to talk about a kind of a family pick of the week. The Prospector Theater has us just lined up perfectly for this weekend, doesn't it?
It's the sound of music on the big screen. And for those of us who love that movie, and I dare you to say you don't love that movie, to see it on the big screen after years of watching it at home, it's magical.
And they're going to have some thematic food, I think, too. They're going to do
what a wonderful opportunity.
This is not the sing-along one.
No, although you can sing along if you wish, and there are other instructions.
No,
if you've been to a sing-along Sound of Music, you have to hiss when the Baroness comes. You have to when Gretel comes. But it's such a good movie. And what's most interesting about The Sound of Music is it came out in 1965, height of the Vietnam War. It's story of family and togetherness and caring. It was the #1 film of that year, but it went on, and overall box office converted to today's dollars, it's #3.
Really?
Ahead of every Star Wars movie.
Who's ahead of it? Avatar?
No, it's Gone with the Wind is #1 still if you convert it to today's dollars, and I can't recall that's #2.
Titanic?
But I think Sound of Music in today's dollars would have a return of about $1.3 billion.
Oh, wow.
It cost $8 million to make.
Not too shabby, right?
But it was made in a time when movies were made with such care. It was a 5-month shoot. One of the more interesting facts is Nicholas Hammond, who plays Friedrich. During the shoot, he grew 6 inches.
Oh, mercy.
So they kept having to put all the other Von Trapps on boxes so it didn't look like they got a new kid. And there are lots of stories, of course, that
and of course, it's the 50th anniversary of the film. They celebrated at the Oscars earlier this year.
It's just amazing to think about. And our own Christopher Plummer from Wilton, one night I talked with him in a bar in the Goring Hotel in London, and I talked to him about his career. And then at the end of the discussion, he said, "Thank you for not asking me about The Sound of Music." And I said, "I wanted to, but I showed restraint."
That was kind of you. I guess he really doesn't care to be.
I think in later years he's become warmer.
He's embraced it.
So if you want a family experience and you want to enjoy it as we all first enjoyed it at the theater, it's at the Prospector on Saturday morning. And what a great thing to bring back.
It's also going to be there tonight. No, that was yesterday.
It was
last night.
Last night. Yeah.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah, sorry, just making sure.
So it'll be there on Saturday morning. It'll give you your Julie Andrews fix just in time for our final segment, which is
for real.
For real.
Yes.
And this is for disbelief. And this is the blasphemous announcement of the planned remake of Mary Poppins.
And who's
otherwise known as, is there another title we can cash in on at the box office?
Who's going to do it?
Well, Rob Marshall, who just directed Into the Woods
right.
and directed Chicago and 9, is apparently going to do it. The Disney folks love him because Into the Woods made a lot of money. And the rumors are all around that it could be Anne Hathaway.
Emily Blunt.
I think Emily Blunt's
would be
wonderful.
I think
Emily
Blunt would be wonderful.
Does she sing?
She sang in Into the Woods. She's fabulous.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
New music by Mark Schumann, who wrote Hairspray and Smash on television.
Is there any chance that it's not casted to an A-lister? Like, is it going to just? Are they going to cast the part?
I have a feeling this is the new Disney formula, like they did with Cinderella, where they take one of their tried and true stories and they give it a twist. Apparently, the idea is that it'll fast forward 20 years and it'll be about a slightly harsher Mary Poppins and a different family. So it's not a direct remake.
No.
But it's more of a kind of a continuation, more backstory.
It's using the title and trying to make money.
It's using the title, and you just know that there will be a reference to Chim Chim Cheree. And how can you do that
and
without...
Supercalifragilistic.
And it was tough enough for any of you who have seen the Broadway version to see those songs that we grew up knowing in a certain context shamelessly moved around to support a new plot, and that's my biggest fear.
Is there any chance that Julie Andrews stops by for a cameo in the remake? Or no? What would be worse? Like,
what about Dick Van Dyke?
But there was actually if you think about Rob Marshall's film version of Chicago, and there was that lovely cameo early in the film where Chita Rivera, who had played one of the leads on Broadway, showed up as a cameo, and it was kind of a nice gimmick cameo. Mm-hmm. My fear is that they'll make some reference to Dick Van Dyke's Cockney accent, which was his own version, but it also is partly what makes the film fun. So I'm not real big on these unnecessary sequels, and when I saw that, I thought, well, why do we need that?
We don't.
We don't need that.
We don't.
But is it for real?
It is for real. They're going to make it. It's coming out.
They're going to make it.
It'll probably be out by next Christmas.
That's right. They're also, I think, making a new Jungle Book. I mean,
the new Jungle Book is made. I saw the trailer a couple nights ago. Made live action, everything.
There's apparently also going to be yet another version of A Star Is Born. This one.
Well, let's not eat up all the 4 reels. We've got a few shows.
There's no way we can have another A Star Is Born. We've only had, it feels like, 5 or 6. And then the long-rumored remake of My Fair Lady, where Emma Thompson is reportedly writing the screenplay. Hopefully not intending to play Eliza Doolittle, but apparently trying to write a screenplay that is more current. So,
well, that'll be interesting.
I don't know.
As always, Mark, thank you for stopping by. It was a great 2 segments. A lot to look forward to at the film festival right around the corner.
Okay.
And we'll head off to our second commercial break. When we get back, we'll have some Real Weekend. We'll also have a special guest, Kelly Turgowski from the Trumbull High School marching band right after the break.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com. Coulter Rockefeller Estate is Westchester County's top cultural attraction and is now open for the season. Don't miss out. Go online to hudsonvalley.org to plan your visit. Take a drive out to beautiful Sleepy Hollow, New York, and enjoy Kykut's stunning architecture, breathtaking gardens, expansive art galleries, and commanding Hudson River views. From world-class art by Picasso and Warhol to expertly tended gardens, there's something for everyone. Kykut Rockefeller Estate, a National Trust for Historic Preservation Landmark.
Have no fear. HAN Network's Fast Frights movie contest is here. Can your film make the cut? Submit your 3-minute scary movie today for a chance to win a DJI Phantom 3 drone, sponsored by Milford Photo. The only thing to fear is missing the deadline.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark Building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark Building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
While the temperatures are cooling down, the fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait that are abundant in the Long Island Sound. If you love the New England coast during autumn, this is the time to be on the water. The latest from Shimano, Quantum, Avet, Hoagie, Phase 2, and more are in stock and ready to go at the dock shop. And don't mind those fall breezes with jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece from Grundens and Stormer. The dock shop will keep you warm and dry. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, stockshop.com.
We are back with HAN Arts and Leisure. We've got a special guest in studio with us, Kelly Targowski from the Trumbull High School Golden Eagles Marching Band. I nailed it, yes.
Yay.
Perfect.
And so this weekend is the 33rd Annual Fall Classic, a great event that's happening at the high school. Tell us a little bit about who's coming to the event, what's new this year. 33 years, by the way. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're very proud of that. So it is an annual event. We host it at the high school. However, other neighboring communities host a similar event. Ours tends to be on a little larger scale as far as the number of total bands that we have coming. This year we have 9 local high school bands that include New Milford, Bethel. We will have Norwalk there. We also have 2 college and university bands joining us this year. Yeah, both New Haven and Sacred Heart University will be at the event. They're actually closing. And then new this year is we have the Alumni Drum Corps. We have two groups of them coming, primarily drumming, right? So drum corps, but we have it's the Westchester Brassmen, and the other is the Park City Pride. So those are alumni corps that will be at the event this year.
So there'll be plenty of sound and fury this weekend.
Yeah, there will be. The neighbors around Trumbull High School have been listening to drums for many months now, but they're going to have a big dose of it on Saturday night.
Well, hopefully they all come to it.
Yeah, we do. We get a lot of, it branches out far beyond just our normal parent population and our student body. We do have, most of our local town officials come. First Selectman Herbst will be there, along with some others. And we get, of course, the following from the other high school bands, and in this case, the college and university bands as well.
And Trumbull is going to be playing Constellations, is that right? At
Correct.
8:15?
Yeah. So this is our debut at home. We've performed. We haven't performed the show yet, actually, in its entirety. So a show usually consists of 3 songs, and our 3rd song wasn't ready yet to perform. So we get to debut it at home, which is really exciting for the kids because it's the first time they get to play in front of their home student body and their parents. So there'll be a full show on Saturday night. Trumbull will come on around 8:15.
And for those who don't know about the tradition about the marching band, just talk about the role that it plays in the community. I know you guys have been busy with door-to-door sales. You've had the mattress fundraiser, and then you just played at the Trumbull Arts Festival on September 13th, a couple Sundays ago.
So the marching band is a very active program. It is the biggest program at Trumbull High, above any other athletic team that's there. This year we have 152 band members, and that includes all percussion, all other musical instruments, and also the guard, which are those, with the flags and the rifles. So that includes all members. So far this year, as you mentioned, we've done the door-to-door campaign, which is really vital to our kids because it's an opportunity for them to raise their own funds. Due to the fact that the band does travel pretty extensively during the fall season. So they participate in that. We also showed up and had a performance at the Arts Festival. We try to give back to our community because they do so much to help and support us as an entire unit. And then leading up to this show, we also sell ads and truck ads that we post in a large program that we'll have at the event on Saturday. And then we have large trucks that transport all of our equipment to the various shows, so we use that as a chance to advertise as well. So our purpose, or one of our main purposes of why we like to put on such a big show, is to show our community our appreciation for how much they support the program.
And you mentioned the national anthem. You have 2 new bands, or I should say middle school bands, that are going to be performing that, kind of feeding into the high school program.
It does.
Right?
Many of these kids in the middle school, they might have an older sibling that participates, and they're always going to the shows on kind of the big stage. And as you know, middle schools, they don't have marching band programs, but they certainly have musicians that play and are used to playing in a band setting. So they get an opportunity to take the big field and play the national anthem for us. And that will start at 4:45 on Saturday.
I can't help but thinking it's like looking up to your older brother or something that plays football and you're an 8th grader. So it's like very kind of passing down the lineage of the tradition of the Trumbull High School Marching Band.
It is. And the unique thing, you mentioned tradition, so, we said this was our 33rd year. The other piece that I enjoy about it is, when you see Trumbull High School, you see the band uniforms. They've been the same for many, many years. There's pieces, and they're tradition pieces that carry on year after year. For instance, I'll mention one that I thought was very unique, the cadence, which is, the music that the drums typically play as they march in. Has been the same for many, many years, and
Is
they
that
don't
like a
change
signature
that.
for a band?
Sure, it's like their signature. They do very similar formations, how they line up, how they're called to attention. A lot of that is carried on, and I think especially in a setting where younger siblings are looking up to the older, they remember that for many years, and then that might be them one day too.
Yeah,
and you mentioned this is the. Oh, sorry, Sally. Go ahead.
I was going to say you have a son in the band.
I do. He's a sophomore. He's on the drum corps. He plays cymbals this year.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And how did he get interested?
Well, in middle school, he was a drummer,
Uh-huh.
and we'd gone to a few of these shows even prior to having any of my children in the high school, because it was such a big event. And again, you could hear it usually, so you think, what's going on today? But this is the draw of being able to see marching bands on a higher. I guess a larger scale. We had participated in the past. So he became interested probably actually going to one of these home shows, I'm going to say, is what initially piqued his interest to participate. Yeah.
And this is the only home show, right? And you
It
guys are
is.
going on the road after this. Where's the band heading? I know you mentioned, I think Rhode Island is one of them. Or?
Yeah, we have some more regional shows, so we'll be in local towns like Bethel and Naugatuck. They will travel down in October. They go to University of Delaware. They compete in a different program. There's two main programs, or I guess really arts programs. This one that we participate in Saturday is the Musical Arts Conference, and that's just a vehicle in which they're able to schedule and bring these shows. And then the other group that we participate in is with the U.S. Band. So the show in Delaware will be part of the U.S. Band competition circuit. And then towards the end of the season, we'll actually perform at MetLife. So talking about a big stage,
Wow. Oh, nice.
a giant stadium. Yeah, Trumbull High will take the field there too and perform.
Yeah, and you guys did that last year too,
We
right?
did. We've done it for several years as well. So these, a lot of these students go in knowing the reputation that Trumbull High has, so they understand what comes along with it. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I could imagine it's a lot of pressure.
Like?
Yeah, so they practice. They start in the summer. So as an incoming even freshman, they would start in the summer, and that leads up to a full 2-week band camp, which is from 9 to 9. So they're 12-hour days back to back, and it happened to be the two hottest weeks of August this year. And then after that, their schedule is approximately 18 hours of practice a week. Even Saturday, for instance, if
That's
they don't
marching and music.
Marching and music, yep. So typically they'll learn the music first, and then they'll march. So I don't see my sophomore pretty much until like the middle of November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just in time for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, just in time for Christmas, yeah.
Now, do students from Trumbull get placed in schools then that have some of the big marching band programs?
Yeah, a
Is it
lot
good
of them will
feeder?
go just for that sole purpose.
Yeah.
So and because of the accolades and the reputation that Trumbull has, it does serve them well from a college prospect perspective.
Good.
And that's the conference is the Musical Arts Conference,
Correct.
right? MAC. How many programs are in there?
I don't know how many total. All the ones that participate in. I'm going to say we're maybe at around 16.
Oh, nice.
Total bands that participate in the MAC. U.S. Bands is a larger program. It's more regional, I guess, than just a smaller like statewide program. So those individual schools will also typically host a show. For instance, we were at one last weekend. We actually went to two. We're at Brian McMahon and then up at Jonathan Law High School up in Milford.
Same day?
Same day. They did a doubleheader last week. And if you see the amount of equipment, I mean, it's 152 kids. Obviously, all of them are playing some type of instrument. So you have everything as small as a flute to as large as a tuba or a bass drum. So along with just the 5 busloads of kids and chaperones, they'll have 2 large box trucks of equipment that just carries. They have to carry the drum major stand and all the props that go along with it. It's a huge organization that is fully supported by parents such as myself.
Does anything ever get lost? The wrong name tag or anything like that?
Yeah, and the kids, I will tell you, if there's one thing that the reputation and the dedication level that teaches these kids are things like that.
Yeah.
My son, as a 15-year-old boy, I don't think has ever left one single thing anywhere because they know what is expected of them, and when they're on time to them that's late. Like they have to be there 15 minutes early, and it's character traits like that I think go a long way in their true life skills these kids are learning in the band.
That's wonderful.
the 2015 Fall Classic. I think there's some food and some souvenirs as well that people can enjoy while they go, right?
Yeah, so the gates open around 4:15. National Anthem, as you said, it's 4:45.
Yep.
The first band performs at 5 o'clock. That's Brian McMahon marching. Trumbull will be on probably around 8:15, and then our university bands will be on around 9. So the whole event will probably come to a close around 10 p.m. They have breaks in between the marching bands just basically to allow them to set up for the next show. And then there's booths out there, tons of food. They'll do some souvenirs. Most of it's band related. Of course, like all of our apparel is on sale. And then they do fun things like candygrams and airgrams and then the seniors will have like a special recognition for the seniors that are exiting because it's their home show. So it's a great event. We would love to have everyone come see it.
Awesome. And that's at Trumbull High School again, Saturday, September 26th. Kelly, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And we're going to head off to our next commercial break. We've got HAN Weekend coming up next.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com. Coulter Rockefeller Estate is Westchester County's top cultural attraction and is now open for the season. Don't miss out. Go online to hudsonvalley.org to plan your visit. Take a drive out to beautiful Sleepy Hollow, New York, and enjoy Kycut's stunning architecture, breathtaking gardens, expansive art galleries, and commanding Hudson River views. From world-class art by Picasso and Warhol to expertly tended gardens, there's something for everyone. Coulter Rockefeller Estate, a National Trust for Historic Preservation Landmark.
Have no fear. HAN Network's Fast Frights movie contest is here. Can your film make the cut? Submit your 3-minute scary movie today for a chance to win a DJI Phantom 3 drone. Sponsored by Milford Photo. The only thing to fear is missing the deadline.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
While the temperatures are cooling down,
Arts and Leisure. This is Steve Coulter with Sally Sanders, and we're going to give you some highlights for the weekend here in Fairfield County and Westchester County.
It's
Sally?
an amazingly busy weekend, and before I start hitting some of the highlights, I just suggest that you look at arts.hersamacorn.com for the weekend listings, where we have a much more complete collection of things to do. Weather's supposed to be great this weekend, and one of the things that's happening is the Progressive Insurance Norwalk Boat Show, which is an in-the-water boat show. And that's at Cove Marina in East Norwalk off of Calf Pasture Road.
People showing off their boats one last time before it gets too cold.
Well, actually, you can go and pick out your next yacht. You could
How did you know that's what I was going to do this weekend?
They have sailing yachts, motor yachts. There's a lot of interactive activity involved with it. Free boat rides on Long Island Sound.
Hey, that's not bad. I'll take that. Free boat ride's always good.
Well, of course, the admission is $15 per adult, so you have to factor that into your fun. But it's a really fun show to go to if you have any interest in Long Island Sound. We used to go and look at it in our kayaks. We would just paddle in and get free admission and take a look at all the wonderful big boats there. Excuse me, if you want more information on that, you can visit boatshownorwalk.com. Now, starting tonight, and if I start choking, you're going to have to take
I'll carry
I came
it,
back
don't worry.
from a trip with a cold, so I'm a little bit froggy today. The Chekhov International Theater Festival is going on in Ridgefield. It starts tonight, and they'll have shows tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday, with 2 shows on Saturday. This is done in tribute to Michael Chekhov, who's not the famous Chekhov. He's the other Chekhov.
Chekhov.
He's the actor, and he started an acting school in Ridgefield back in the, I think, 30s, which is why they have this festival. It's kind of a tribute to that school. Starting tonight, what's the first one? A Report to the Academy, which is actor Drew Valens creating the character of a human ape in a comedy intrigue.
Oh my goodness!
A lot of these are things you've never heard of. And,
I was going to say this is like
they all sound
super
really
independent.
interesting. The director this year is new. It's Hamilton Clancy, and you might have seen him as Kowalski on Orange Is the New Black.
Okay,
I throw that out there, but tickets for the whole weekend, you can get a $30 pass, or you can buy tickets at each show for $15. And
so the $30 is the bargain.
Yeah, that's the bargain, and all of the performances are at Scotts Ridge Middle School, which is on East Ridge Road. If you want more information, you can call Town Hall, which is 203-431-2774, but that's only through Friday. They'll not be there, obviously, on the weekend. Tomorrow night at the Bijou Theater in Bridgeport, Suzanne Vega, the singer-songwriter, is going to be performing a benefit concert for Bridge House, which assists people with psychiatric disabilities. And tickets for that are $100. If you're interested, you can call the box office there, 203-332-3228, or visit the Bijou Theater website. Coming up in Darien on Saturday, and the weather is looking perfect for this, they're going to have what they call Montmartre in Darien. It's going to be La Place des Artistes, a sort of a Parisian-style free outdoor art exhibit. And
sounds very French.
More than 20 artists are going to be showing their work, anything from paintings to photographs, ceramics, and they'll also have musicians and dancers and French cuisine. So what could be better? It's a benefit for the Darien Arts Center, and you can find out more information at darienarts.org.
And moving over from France to Germany, there's a little Oktoberfest in Milford, isn't there?
There is. The Devon Rotary Club is going to have Milford Oktoberfest, and that's going to be at the Rotary Pavilion at Fowler Field, which is at 1 Shipyard Lane behind the Milford Public Library. 14 Oktoberfest and craft beers on tap. Bratwurst.
Doesn't get any better. Bratwurst beers, I'm there.
German hats, T-shirts, raffles, dancers, and an oompa band. The phone number at the pavilion is 203-783-3284 if you need any more information. But Oktoberfest, beer, bratwurst.
And in case if the beers and the bratwurst or the French food's not your style, there's also giant pumpkins coming to Richfield.
Giant pumpkins. And
cloudy with a chance of giant pumpkins.
In Ballard Park, which is right across the street from the Ridgefield Library, we're going to be having giant pumpkins from as far away as Pennsylvania and Massachusetts. These guys haul them in on flatbed trucks.
Oh, I've had to do the story the last 2 years.
Yes, and how do they take them off? In giant slings then? Did you see that part?
I think they take them off with a forklift that Richfield Hardware provides.
Oh, that's scary. No, Richfield Supply.
Richfield Supply,
is one of the
should get the right
co-sponsors. That starts at 10. The pumpkins will be setting up, I guess.
Yeah.
And judging starts at noon.
And there's squashes too that are like 400-pound squashes too.
They do both pumpkins and they call them gourds.
Gourds,
or
that's
squashes.
Right. Yep.
Because the Ridgefield man who usually has giant pumpkins said
Steve
this year.
Maiden.
Yes, well.
Yeah, I know Steve.
His pumpkins got attacked by woodchucks this year.
Oh no!
So he only has gourds this year, but he's entering those. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, festival runs through 3, and there are food trucks. There's going to be music. There are going to be crafts for the kids, And
I can pretty much guarantee this is the only chance that you can see a 1,400-pound pumpkin this fall.
Well, unless you go to one of the
other
agricultural fairs.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's interesting because I would have thought the Durham Fair was this weekend too, and they usually have giant pumpkins. But apparently we are a big draw, Ridgefield.
Oh, huge draw. Third annual. This is
So-
becoming a big deal.
Yeah, so, and moving from giant pumpkins, it's on to scarecrows.
To scarecrows. I did a story on this week for the Trumbull Times.
Well, tell us about it then.
The Scarecrow Festival is going to be Sunday at Palasko's Farms. There's going to be entry to the giant corn maze there. They're going to cook a nice meal for everybody that shows up. It's going to be fun for the kids. You can make your own scarecrow for $15. You got all the supplies there. Just come out and enjoy. Have a great time with the family. I think that pretty much summarizes it, right?
Yeah, and if you'd like more information, 203-268-2716. The Quick Center for the Arts is celebrating its 25th anniversary season, and they're going to have a concert by someone, and and it's going to feature a composition by Connecticut composer Gwyneth Walker. This is kind of a big deal. The Quick Center is a wonderful location for seeing concerts and going to lectures, and I couldn't believe it was only 25 years old. It seems like it's been around forever. And the final concert I'm going to bring up is the candlelight concert season at the Wilton Congregational Church, which actually benefits the Wilton Library Association. And they're bringing in the Takish Quartet, which is going to be playing on Sunday at 4. Works by Haydn and Shostakovich and Dvorak. And you can get tickets at the door. If you want more information, wiltoncandlelightconcerts.org. And here's one that's kind of dear to my heart, Folks on Spokes.
Oh, I remember doing this last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also going to be in Milford. I guess the day after the Oktoberfest, you can work
These
off
towns
the
are just,
bratwurst.
they're loading up these towns,
Yeah.
festival after festival.
And information on that is this is also a benefit for Bridges, which is a community support system. I wonder if that's related to Bridge House. I do not know. But anyway, for details, folksonspokes.bridgesct.org, or you can call 203-878-6365, extension 359.
There's plenty to do this weekend in Fairfield County.
There is more than anyone can imagine to do.
Yeah, this is one of the busiest weekends I can remember.
And we're
doing this segment.
We're looking at good weather at least through Saturday.
Definitely.
Sundays may be a little iffy now. So get out and enjoy something, and check in at arts.hersamacorn.com for more information on any of the events we mentioned, or to find something else if none of these appealed, because there's plenty more out there.
And thank you, Sally, for that weekend rundown. And that is going to conclude our show today. Thank you so much for watching HAN Arts and Leisure. Thank you for Mark Schumann for stopping by, and Kelly Targowski. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.